And the mic is on now. Happy Tuesday, good morning. Thanks for joining me today. I am checking out one game that has been sent in from the public and two patrons games today, I think. Yeah, that's right. So, first game that we're going to be checking out today, and they're not all incrementals necessarily, they're not listed as such. There's two games that are incrementals that do some slightly strange things, and one that is more of a kind of mining factory game with some automation in. So all kind of tickling the same sort of brain bits. We're going to be checking out Slots and Diapers. This one is actually out tomorrow. It's quite late in terms of, we're not going to be able to change what this game is. I had it on my list to play one day with some games that were also doing incrementals with strange themes or something like that. There's going to be poop in this game. We've got Astefactor from one of our patrons, which is going to be a kind of space mining type deal. And I will just see if there's any notes that go along with these as well. And then we're going to be looking at incremental game that's also a platformer, which I have looked at before. And I think I have specific bits of that I'm supposed to be looking at. So the dev said there's a specific part of the game I want feedback on, a variation to the standard game loop you've already experienced that the player is dropped into about 2 hours in. Okay. So there's supposed to be a setting to drop me into that bit. Let me just check whether I've got any notes on that elsewhere. And we're going to get Slots and Diapers up and running while I check that quickly. Warning, there's going to be some poo, I think. I do not have that. I will. So game audio. Visionary, I think incrementals is a genre that can have some very interesting stuff in it when it's focused around using the repetition to do mystery and surprise and unlocking secrets. I think it's also a genre that has a lot of very low effort slop in it, but that's the same with everything. There are very few genres of games where I can't find one redeemable game in the genre. I don't really like things based on what genre they are, but there are genres that tend to have a lot more bad stuff in. Right. Yes. Okay. Checking I don't have... Yeah, the trailer music is running. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've got a difficulty mode that is basically just going to speed the game up. So I think I'm going to put it with that on because we're only going to have about half an hour anyway, so we'll play it in the kind of speed up. Not going to be answering questions about other games at the moment because I know that these games can be slow, so I want to be just really focused on playing this and responding to it. You know, there's lots of okay, we got a poop. Your first jackpot. Welcome to Diapers Club. I'm at the machine next to you. We're going to be rich and break the game together. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'm guessing we're trying not to get the poop then. The poop isn't the win condition. I mean, I seem to be collecting it, so maybe it is. I don't know. So I think we're going to be like buying machines, which I can. I've got this many coins, so I can get a second machine now. And then I can click on both of them. And the interesting thing about this theme is just, you could imagine this being a farming game, right? Like a farming clicker with not much variability between the different things you click on. And because it's themed as slot machines, it sort of makes a bit more sense that they would be spitting out different stuff, which kind of makes it a little bit more kind of inherently interesting to interact with. Right, we're going to get a gambler, so that's automated now. He's just going to wander around clicking on stuff for us, which is probably not going to be that helpful just yet because we have our mouse is quicker, but it will be helpful eventually. Yeah, I haven't played this exact thing before. Generally like the art style of this. It's not kind of grabbing me mechanically right now, but to be honest, it has... These games generally, the kind of clicker style incrementals really have to do some weird stuff to be interesting to me. Like, I don't find the core loop of them like engaging in its own right. It feels more like a guilty pleasure to me. And I'd usually rather be doing something a little bit more skill or judgment based than just kind of having random stuff happen. But everything here in terms of like production value feels quite good. The chips feel a little bit small to click on. It's a lot of clicks. Chips ain't trophies, friends. Spend them in the upgrade shop to make more chips faster. It's called invest. Okay, we can go here. We can make the individual machines do more stuff. So this is where the juice is, really. This is like where we're going to kind of optimize stuff. Each upgrade lets you hover to collect the next chip value. Not sure what that means. Right, we're gonna upgrade the machine payouts. Yeah, the kind of slightly grotty theme with the cartoony characters is giving me Constructor vibes, which is that's a deep cut that only the boomers will know about. So this is to buy new items. This is an upgrade. This is for spending poo. cryptocurrency. Can I buy her? Okay, so you got your gamblers that you use to automate the machines, and then you spend your cryptocurrency to reskin them. Okay, this game has already jumped quite like further up in my approximations based on the pun cryptocurrency. It's very good. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me go. Good shout, Dan. Can we stop discussing how to make an average game as quickly as possible, please? I think you're on the wrong channel if that's what you want to do. I know you people that watch game dev YouTube. You have your cultural norms. You want to make a game in 3 months as quickly as possible. You want to earn generational wealth through passive income, but that's not what we're about here. This is a relatively high level of polish for games in this category, and yes, they do seem like an easy type of game to make. I think the interesting thing that is going to get borne out over the next year, right? Because we've just had a Bite Me and an Aramis incremental game, right? So what's happening in our little scene over here is that now loads of people that don't have their own ideas and who think that game design is a sort of like science where you can look at data and work out what you should make, which you can to a degree, but the other thing about the kind of production and more team-focused side of game development is you're supposed to make what your strength is. And there'll be loads of people rushing to make these types of games because they think it's a meal ticket. And what will happen is there will be about 5% of those games that actually do well, and the rest won't do well. And that will be because the skills required to make one of these that is actually satisfying and good to interact with are something that the people are trying to skimp over because they think that the game is just about making money, making numbers go up. And it's the same thing you see in casual design in like casual mobile games, is that the game is all juice and UX, right? Which that might be quote unquote easy compared to like making a skill-based game where you've got to balance everything and you've got to get the challenge level right and all of that. It may seem easy, but it's a lot of work to just make all the level of detail that's just gone into making these feel good to interact with, and like all of the hoverovers and stuff over here. This is already in like the top 25% of games of this type that I might look at. And I don't look at them very often because I find them a bit boring. But I have been doing my experiment where I'm sort of cataloguing 1,000 recent Steam games and looking at them. And the amount of people that think they can make like a game that is just an activity that happens on something that looks like a piece of business software is really, really wild. So I think it's very, very deceptive and self-deceptive to go down this route of thinking that game A is easier to make than game B, because it may be on some level, but it also just comes down to your skills at different things. And if you've got no visual sense, you've got no sense of flair around UX and juice, you're still not going to make a good game, even if it's in quote-unquote one of the easy genres, you know? Visionary, I don't know who you are. You're asking me weird, vague questions. How do I become a better game developer? I don't know. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you can do. Develop games. Have high standards for yourself based on like actually good games rather than just based on being impressed that you managed to do something that you couldn't do before. Sim term. People always tell you the games you want to make are too difficult. I mean, maybe they are. But do you know those people and do they know you? Because in any like given... So I would just say, devs, if you're watching, this cursor upgrade for sticky fingers, each upgrade lets you hover to collect the next chip value. The next chip value, that's not what this has done. There's some weird translation going on here, or the way that this is written out isn't clear. There's a much easier way of explaining what this little circle is that we just upgraded into. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but that was totally unclear what that meant before I got the upgrade. It's kind of what I suspected it might be. So we've removed a little bit of the friction around picking up the chips now because we're kind of collecting them. Because that was really tight, that selection circle. So, yeah, when people tell you what to make or what not to make, bear in mind they don't know you. And they might be trying to save you a lot of heartache by telling you not to do something really hard. But even if you eventually need to make something simple, you need to learn the skills anyway. So you may as well just learn them by doing projects. And one of the reasons why I say I don't know you when people ask me questions about what they should do and how they should get better is there is a world of difference between, like, you've started making games in the last 2 years or you've been doing it for 10 years. And if you've started in the last 2 years, then it doesn't really matter what you're making as long as you're consistently making stuff. Because if you think of, like, any other medium or any other type of work, really, it wouldn't be reasonable in any other type of business to expect to go to being like a self-employed full-time person in 2 years of practice at something. Like, if you were getting married in the next 6 months and you were going to book a band for your wedding and you were going to give them like $1,000, you would rule out anyone who had started playing music in the last 2 years because they wouldn't be doing it at a professional level. So, Khan, it's just the wording. The wording of that power-up is just really unclear. Sticky fingers. Each upgrade lets you hover to collect the next chip value. Right. What does that... Each upgrade... It's just not... The text isn't clear that it does what it means, which is gives you this circle, right? Or maybe it's this one. I mean, you don't have to get it right first time is putting it one way. I would just say you're not going to get it right first time, and that's just like an adult way of approaching anything. Just like if you were learning a sport, you're not going to like win the first match. Any medium is the same. You're not going to be kind of successful to a degree where other people are going to enjoy and care about what you're doing in when you're doing your first bits of practicing and learning. The problem is that the discourse is dominated by what I think it's attributed to Mark Twain, but what he called Americans as Americans think of themselves as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. It's just like everything you're doing is going to make you rich one day, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Well, back up. Is that RAM from a jackpot? You lucky. Look, this is the good stuff. You can trade those in the reboot tab for perma skills that stay forever. Okay, so there's going to be some sort of prestige loop, but the perma skills, we get to keep them. Yeah, so when we've got 50k money, we can prestige, and then we'll get a permanent upgrade, and then the next loop will be faster in some ways. Do I have enough cryptocurrency for an old lady? Ah, yeah, look. Can unlock one of these. Can change the skins of the gamblers. That's nice. I think this is worth looking at as a feature for like other genres as well. Look at how the game sort of signposts how much content is in it here. Right, just by having the collection and being able to see how many slots are, you get a sense of what the kind of value is of what you're getting out of this game. Now, some people aren't going to care about the skins. Some people will care a lot. But just the fact it's not trying to hide that from you. It's not trying to like make you think that there's loads when there's only 4. It gives you a very clear sense of how much stuff there is. I think that's a good way of doing that kind of system. The other thing you should bear in mind when people tell you things, because someone in the chat just said, people always tell me not to do this or to do this. You got to bear in mind, if you're getting that advice from Reddit, Redditors are not people. So that's just an important thing to understand as well. So if you're new to game dev, you don't need to be worrying about scope. Right, scope is a... This is the thing. This is the other thing. Everyone gets into like this professional roleplay mindset really, really quickly. So scope is like a professional concept, right? It's like... Scope is for when you are spending resources, right? Scope is in the realm of producers and project management and stuff like that. And... that's a situation where it matters if a game takes 3 years or 6 months or whatever, because you're doing it professionally and it costs a resource. If you're new to game dev, you do not need to care about scope, because what you make in your first year or 2 of making games is not going to be to a professional standard anyway. So what you're making, the primary output of that is your learning. It is not a game that other people are going to pay you for. And the quicker that you get your head around that, the quicker you can just get into doing it and enjoying the learning, and then you will learn more quickly, and that will get you more quickly to a point where you can make something of a decent quality that other people might care about and want to play. You don't need to think about scope while you're still just learning how to use a game engine and make art and do all of those things. But everyone rushes into this, let's all cosplay as professional developers and talk about scope and project management and business and marketing, and it's like, you're not there yet. Like, I'm barely there yet. You don't need to think about that yet. Just learn the skills and enjoy the skills, and don't feel like you need to justify learning a fun set of skills by going, oh, this is going to make me really rich one day. Because I know lots of people come from backgrounds where they're sort of not encouraged to learn things for the sake of it, and that means you have to like justify everything you want to do by saying, oh well, this is very serious, I'm going to make some money, right? And the people who do make some money tend to be the people that love doing the thing enough to just do it for fun, and that's how they learn, because they're quite happy to sit there and, you know, go home after work and work on their project for 3 hours because they enjoy learning, not because they think it's going to like help them escape the rat race one day. That might be a secondary thing, but it can't be the primary driver, because you'll never get good enough then if you're always doing it for an extrinsic motivation. And this isn't just like me preaching, this is really kind of foundational educational theory as well, about like how people learn. People learn better when they're just intrinsically motivated to do the thing because they find it interesting and enjoyable. Money is nice, yeah. We all want to make money doing something we love, but you have to actually love it first. And when you're first sort of getting a game engine to do things that you want it to do, it's very easy to just be in love with the fact that you got it to do something, but that doesn't mean that you've made something that anyone else is going to want to play, you know? I mean, Visionary, you should make small games. Watch my video on indie game genres and subtractive design. Like, the worst games I see are people trying to make like a small version of a AAA game, right? But the point is, when people tell you to make small scope games, again, that's helpful advice for someone who knows how to make games. So when you go from the kind of hobbyist level to you're actually trying to transition into doing things professionally and you know how to make games already, then the scope stuff becomes relevant because you're actually you're making a game with a deadline and you've decided I'm going to spend 3 months making a game or I'm going to spend 2 years making a game, and that's when scope becomes relevant. But scope is not a helpful concept to someone that doesn't know how to use their tools yet. Because, you know, if you're making a game and you've never made a level, and I say how many levels is your game gonna have, you've got a year, well, you can't answer that question because you haven't made a level. Whereas after you've made a level, you can say, well, in a year I could probably make 30 levels. And you go, okay, cool, we understand the scope now. But scope is not just big or small. You know, it's about your understanding of what you can achieve, which you can't know until you know how to do stuff. The problem is a lot of people want things to have like a sort of abstract universal answer that doesn't require them to think about themselves or like or to reflect. Which is fine if you want to be an employee, right? But the thing I find frustrating is that if you're going into any sort of independent media where you want to be in charge of what you make, you're basically deciding you want to be your own boss, right? And that's not the only way to make games. You could just get good at programming or good at using a game engine and then have other people hire you. Or you could try and get a job in a studio. I know the industry is hard to get into right now, but there's still the D-list jobs that exist out there. There are still jobs. They're just not necessarily the most glamorous ones. There are lots of ways to make games without becoming your own boss. But if you've decided, oh, I want to be an indie dev in a very small team or a solo developer, then you've decided to be your own boss. And that means you need to have a degree of like self-awareness and ability to do a kind of skills audit and go, right, what am I good at? Okay, maybe I should make something that capitalizes on those things. And every time someone is giving like generalist advice that's supposed to apply to everyone about what you should and shouldn't do, I think that's not really helping to foster the sort of mindset that makes people, you know, be good at running their own business, because it's infantilizing you. This is ramped up quite so I'm playing this for anyone who's just dropped in, trying to focus on the game for a second here. I'm playing this on the easy mode, which just kind of speeds up a lot of the progression more. This feels like it's ramped up quite nicely. You know, I haven't been super on the ball trying to min-max it, but it does feel like we've got more stuff generating more stuff on the field, and then it's easier to collect things. We've been like buying the gamblers who wander around pulling the machines, and I think I just got a chip collector as well, who means we don't have to click as much. It's still not quite got to the point where I don't have to click loads, but that's kind of the point, I guess. And we're going to go up, then prestige, and then rebuild. So it's going to be kind of expanding and contracting in terms of like how much manual stuff you have to do with the mouse, and then how much you automate it. It feels like a pretty well-structured game. Right, you're making big moves, but how do you stack up against the rest of the world? It's time to check out the Crapto board, the official global leaderboard where only the elite flushers reside. Okay, click to skip. Oh, it's up there. Okay, so the poo currency is like our persistent currency between all of the runs, I guess. And that's why you can leaderboard it. I do wonder about leaderboards in these types of games because of upgrades and stuff, but I'm guessing that the poo is the thing that remains between runs, maybe. Oh no, I can spend it. Spin every machine each time you activate the skill. So we've got an ability that just makes all of the machines spin, I think. Work, work, work. Gamblers are 44% faster and less sleepy. It's a very random percentage. I think this is modeling something that is a good thing to go for. I mean, this is a general incremental game thing, but it could apply to any game where you're gradually like upgrading things and there's lots of kind of resource management. So there's stuff here which is purified in incremental games, but I see it in other types of games as well. And like auto battlers and like bullet heavens, any kind of engine building games where you're upgrading so that you produce more stuff or you deal more damage, is that there's a really nice push and pull here. So we start off, it's very manual, you have to click lots. We automate some of that stuff. It becomes less manual, but now we're upgrading how many physical objects appear, right? And that means that even though we've upgraded the mouse, okay, now I'm still having to do a manual thing again because I'm having to spread out because there are more objects. And that basically means that the activity that we're doing on the screen, even though it's not skill-based, it is kind of stretching and squashing. And that's what stops it being too repetitive and stops it getting boring, is that the upgrades are kind of changing the nature of how I have to move the cursor around the space as well. That's a good thing to watch out for, I think. It's why it's really important to play games and feel them, because that's what you're aiming for, is like the way that the game feels, and it's very easy to like misapprehend a genre by just watching it and not getting a first person sense of like how the game changes moment to moment. Because I think people tend to think it's all about power. It's like, oh, I'm just upgrading stuff so that number go up, and obviously that's the on the surface reason, but what's it doing to change the gameplay moment to moment? And in this case, because we're upgrading the payments, there's actually more chips come out, and that changes the interaction. Right, we're going to move on to Astefactor in a minute. I think this is an interesting one because it's such a silly theme and quite a goofy art style, but it's very, very polished. And I feel like the devs have taken what they were doing here reasonably seriously, and I bet you could go and find incremental games that have a much more kind of serious theme that don't have this level of polish and kind of juice in them. I think we might get to the reboot point. Let's just do up until we get to the reboot. We'll trigger all these machines. I think I would like an upgrade that means that I don't have that just automatically clicks when I pass over things eventually, but I'm gonna break my mouse at this rate. There we go. Go crazy. Yeah, I wish more people that wanted to make these games would go back and play stuff like Cookie Clicker, and there's a few HTML ones like Dark Room and Candyland and things like that. Okay, we go here, reboot, continue. You still have RAM. Oh, okay. So this is like a big old skill tree, I guess. Crapto machine. Unlock a whole new addiction with the Crapto machine. You can earn rewards by spinning with your Crapto currencies. There we go. This is where we bring our RAM, and this is our kind of between runs upgrades. Okay, there's some backstory about someone ruining their life. So we're doing Clover Pit type stuff in the background, which is neat. It looks like we're going to get a tiny little story vignette every time we prestige, which is cool. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to like there. I'm going to... Look at that. We've got a diegetic quit button as well. Great. Not as disgusting or pooey as I thought it was going to be. And I don't know to say, you know, whether I'm disappointed by that or not. Are we going to play the playtest or the playtest? I guess we'll pick the first one. Okay, next two games are from patrons because we're mixing the streams together now. Okay, we're going to be doing some mining in space, I think. This is cool. Can I do this with the controller? It did say that this was a twin stick shooter, but I don't think it has controller, which is confusing because my keyboard and my mouse do not have sticks on. We're going to WAS to move and mouse to steer. Okay, so... Ooh. Okay, so we're pointing towards our cursor, and we can strafe, and we can move forward and backward. Feels pretty nice, actually. Interesting art style, kind of comic booky, kind of Mobius-y. Gonna blow up this. Very nice destruction stages there. Do I need to keep shooting that? I mean, it came up with iron ore in the bottom, so I'm guessing that I don't need to just shoot it anymore if I've uncovered it. Press C to switch between your weapon and tool. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Interesting. So I've got a grip and I can tractor beam stuff, and I've got to take it back to the ship, I guess. It becomes like a little balance minigame then. That was satisfying. Huh. Here's our sector map. Okay, we've got some over here, nice and near. I can highlight them. So let's just do those to start off with. Or maybe actually we won't do all of them. We've got we'll do two. We'll do two and then we'll go and check out the next thing. How do I switch weapon again? It's C to switch weapon, okay. Do bear in mind, so we got the tutorials, press C to switch weapon. And now that information is kind of gone, and I only used it once earlier, so it's kind of very easy to forget because you're using it once, then going on and doing something else, which was quite skill-based of that wibbly wobbly little puzzle to get the thing back to the ship. There we go. Got another one. Okay, we go back to the laser. This one looks interesting. So small bits just pop out and go directly to your ship. So you kind of need to be facing the right direction already because you can't turn while you're pulling. Who was that in the chat a moment ago? Aku asked how I decide what to play. It's complicated. At the moment what's happening is I'm prioritizing patrons' games and then I'm picking games from the backlog. So the public backlog of stuff people have submitted, I pick stuff from there based on what might match up with what the patrons are making. And then I prioritize games based on a bunch of other factors as well, just based on, like, does it look interesting? Did the person, like, actually write a message in their application that shows that they want help with a particular thing? Or, you know, were they sending it around to a million different folks? There's lots of factors that play in. I have a sort of scoring system for it. Hey, Mario. Happy national holiday in Italy. You have a national holiday on a Tuesday? I think maybe I don't need any more iron, so it's not letting me put that into the field. I don't know. Okay, so now I think we want to go and check out some of these mysterious things over here. What's this? Can I take this? Okay. Is this just here for me to smash up? Take the copper off it? It's hard to see which bits are going to be, like, collidable with the ammo, but we don't have ammunition, so it's okay. I really like the ship designs in this. What's this? What are you? It looks like they kind of instantly home in on your respawn point. Yeah, the art and music choices here are great. It really kind of feels like it's doing a lot of world building just through the particular kind of art and audio choices. This text gets a little bit hard to read when there's lots of it, mainly just because it's all caps. Okay, it's still trying to tutorialize the grip tool. This is a jump beacon. Okay. Is this the jump beacon? Are you a jump beacon? I want to pull it back to my ship, but I can't. Oof. Okay, it's still trying to tutorialize mining for us, so I'll see if I can get us out of that. Too fast. A little bit frustrating, but it feels great. Press T to enter it when nearby. Ah, okay. Factory is used to process resources you found into more advanced ones. To then be upgraded, to then be used upgrading various things. It can also sell for increased price. Okay. Open storage widget. Here is the... Create 10 copper ingots from ore. Why is this is quite strange. You've put the input on the right and the output on the left. That's going to really confuse people, I think. There we go. Create 5 copper plates. Here we go. Okay, so we can build smelters and we can manually use them. I've got 2 smelters. We're going to go to the upgrade screen. I think this might be too much in one block. I think get people doing the building, send them out on another run, do the upgrades next time, because you're just giving me too much in one go. I'm glad to see this is all here. It's showing me like a lot of potential depth for the game, but it's just too much telling, not enough playing in one block. You need to do that, but you need to do it in very short blocks and allow the player to play around, do stuff on their own. It's just too much in one go. And the text is getting in the way of the other menus, and this isn't a good place for it as well, because this is like a corner of the screen we're very likely to ignore. It feels a little bit like the project stage you're at, it's not really ready for an on-rails tutorial like this, and you should really just let people play the game and work it out and put tooltips in it, and then add the tutorial onboarding later on. Because you've got lots of stuff here that explains all of the mechanics and what they do, right? You've got a lot of the built-in things, so I don't know what your process has been for developing this, but I wouldn't add all of this on Rails tutorial until you're absolutely sure of the teaching order of the game. Because it really feels like you're just blocking together too much stuff into one go here. Because I don't care about this screen now. I'm bored of it. I want to go and fly my spaceship around. And you've just kind of given us too much in one go, I think. So we go back to space. Now in terms of the structure of the game, now I'm kind of thinking like, okay, if the manual mining isn't that important once we get automating, then what happens to this game? This part of the game. Do I need to actually bring that right to the back? Is that why it won't decompose it? Because it needs to be brought to the pincers there. So if I go... Oof. Object is unstable. Is it something to do with these drill resources? I think maybe we've run out of a resource that we need to make it process new stuff. Okay. A lot of randomly spaced out stuff. Music is great. Systems, gadgets, weapons. Carbon pellets, we haven't found them anywhere yet. Press M to toggle the run map widget. You're jumping between space sectors. Okay. That's good to know. And then let's see what else we can build. We've got one of these smelting copper, one smelting iron. We can't build circuits because we need pellets. So there's just like lots of layers of, and this is the same as Factorio as well, I guess, of just like lots of layers of things you can do manually, but it's a good idea not to if you can get away with it because they're very time consuming. Just try and make sure we've got a bit of everything here. Oh, and we do have some of these in storage. So we've got, this is how many we've got. So let's just see if there's anything we can build that we don't have. This would generally be what I would do in a crafting game when I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, is just start to try and make everything so that we've got a stock of everything. Okay, so now when we come in here, so there's still lots of stuff we don't have and we can't build yet. So a folder core, we don't have those. We don't have gold wire. So yeah, basically what you've done in terms of the onboarding of the tutorial is you've shown us this screen, you've pushed us to this screen before we can actually make before we can do any of this stuff. Now we can do the pocket expansion because that only requires those steel objects that we've got. Which you've called iron, which kind of seems a bit strange as well because space age stuff. Okay, now it's telling me how to get to the next sector, which I don't care about yet because I want to play the game. So you're kind of rushing us through lots of things. You're rushing us through the upgrades, and then you're rushing us towards the goal of the whole map. Oh, you need to complete the whole map and get to the next sector. I just want to play the game. I want to get inducted into like what the core loop of the game is. Just throwing more and more concepts at me. And mostly because it's so text-based, they're blocking me from just doing the activities I'm supposed to be doing to enjoy the game. So something that we come back to quite a lot when we're looking at tutorials is that the sort of naive read on a tutorial is that it teaches you to play the game. And obviously that's what it does. That's why it's called a tutorial. But in like larger commercial game studios, you have the idea of onboarding and the idea of a first-time user experience. And obviously the first-time user experience is going to include some amount of tutorialization, but it also needs to be still mostly the player playing and enjoying the game. Because when you're onboarding a player, you want them to have fun. You're trying to show them what the fun of the game is, and the tutorial is just there to gradually enable them to do that. And I think what you're trying to do here is teach people to play the whole game before you allow them to have fun. And you can't do that. You need to just sort of like go, okay, in the first 10 minutes, this is the sort of fun you're supposed to have. And here's the bare minimum information you need in order to do that. And then at some point, we're going to hit a point where we need to do a different type of activity. So, you know, we're on the ship, we're building stuff. Great. Okay. But don't rush ahead from that. Let us have whatever this type of fun is meant to be with the bare minimum information required to have that type of fun, and then push us on to the next thing. But every time you are explaining something that hasn't happened yet, like eventually you're going to escape this sector and da-da-da-da. Every time you're doing that, you're focused on something that is not important to the player at that moment. And especially, you know, if someone's playing a demo of your game, like if you put this on Steam and you're selling it and you create a commercial demo and your demo is mostly this kind of tutorial, it's not going to convince people that the game is fun. It's almost like, you know, the full scope of the game, you know all of the things that are in the game, and that's good, and you want to impress people by telling them everything that's in the game as quickly as possible. But I think the best way to do it is to focus on, okay, what's supposed to be fun in the first 10 minutes? What's supposed to be fun in the first 30 minutes? What's supposed to be fun in the first hour? How does the type of fun change between hour 1 and hour 3? That kind of thing. And just drip feeding the tutorial when it needs to happen. Giving people a little bit longer than you think they need to actually enjoy each new learning and to apply it. And let a lot of the other stuff come through from like the interface clues that you've already got here, like the descriptions of how much things cost and what they do and everything like that. I think there might be some stuff that we can afford on here, so I'm just going to try and build up to actually getting an upgrade. So this requires 40 plates and 20 rods. And that unlocks storage pipes and terminals. So we're gonna get as many plates and rods as we can. We need 40 and 20. And then I think there was something else that cost plates and rods. Okay, this is 80 plates and 240 copper wire. Okay. And that will improve our shuttle flight stuff. And we've got lightened frame over here. So basically, steel plates, steel rods, copper wire, lots of those three things, and then there's things we can afford without needing additional resources we don't have yet. Okay, what's our smelter doing? So one thing I'm a little bit confused by is if I go back to space, I still don't understand why this isn't doing anything. Try redistributing some core charges. A lot of see, I've been given so much tutorial text, and what I really need is for these to tell me what they do. I feel like a shaper and assembler are probably like genre-specific terms from Factorio and stuff, but I don't really know what those mean off the top of my head. So that is that gonna take something from there? Okay. I was looking for conveyor belts, but so that's producing steel bars. We put them in here, and then oh no, that okay. That's I get it. Let's take that away. Take that away, and then if we do something like this, I think. Yes, that's taking those bars from above and turning them into plates. But we don't want to do that. How do I stop it? Off. We want it to... Yeah, I mean, that's all it can do. So we'll let it carry on doing that. And... See, the problem is that these don't tell me what they do before I build them, so I have to build them to see what the capacity is for them, right? So again, it feels like there are helper mechanics or UI features that this game needs, and you've sort of rushed ahead to doing an on-rails tutorial. This doesn't tell me what this can make. There's nothing to tell me. The only way I can tell what that does is to build it, click into it, and then see what it does. And then if I put it in the wrong place, I have to, like, rebuild the whole thing over and over again, which is not really what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so that can make frames out of rods and plates. That's not actually what I want right now, so I'm going to dismantle that again. Okay, so we've got 2 of these now. And if I change this into a cutter... Okay, we can make some of these bars now. Doesn't have enough energy. Turn that off. Turn that off. So that's making plates. That's making rods. I was sure there was something I could do with that, but... Yeah, the fact that we don't understand what machines do until we build them is the biggest problem that this game has at the moment. So we've got a cutter, a press, a roller. So yeah, this is the biggest problem this game has at the moment. I think you need to make a mode that doesn't have the tutorial, that just allows people to test the game as if they already know how to play it, but then sort some of these problems out, because you're basically making this into a memory game at the moment. Of like, I need to know what an assembler and a shaper are, and I need to like memorize all of these things. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep placing stuff down, and that's the most long-winded, bad UX bit of this game. But you're not going to get there and identify that problem if people nope out before they get to it. Which I think could have happened, you know. I think there will be people that have got to this menu and not really got to the stage where they're really sort of engaging with these mechanics or trying to make stuff. And then they're not going to see the much worse problem, which is that you just can't see what a machine can build until you've placed it. What's that? Okay, so I know that we want to make some copper wire, so I'm going to put one of these here, and then we need to feed some of these into it. So we'll do that, and we'll have it fill from the top, and then I'll close this, and then we're going to build another one of these here that's going to feed downwards. And this is supposed to cut those into strips, so we're going to do that. And then we will close this one, and then we want smelting copper bars to go into the top there. So this is going to do that. And we don't have... So it says try redistributing some core charges. Okay, how do we do that? So that's this. Yeah, information on demand, not all of the time. That's exactly it. This is why we have tooltips. You put as much information on demand in the game as possible. So like Scorpy said, you know, if you pick up Slay the Spire and you've got a save game and you haven't played it in a year, you can still remember the main bits of the game, but all the other information you need is there in the tooltips, yeah? Same situation here. If I've been playing the game for a year, I load up my save, I don't want to redo the tutorial, I would resent that because in my mind I know how to play the game. But I don't remember the individual bits of what all these things do, so I need the tooltips. And if you put all of that information on demand into the tooltips, then you're not going to need as many stages of on-rail tutorial, and that means that your onboarding can be focusing on the player having a fun first-time user experience rather than the player being given like an exam on stuff that isn't relevant to them yet, you know? So we don't have enough ore to do this yet, but basically this would take ore, smelt it into blocks. The blocks would pass through here, getting cut into strips, and then the strips would get rolled into wire. So that's a little chain that we've built that should actually work now, but we don't have any copper, so we would have to go back out and get some copper. So now that's the first time. That moment was the first time so far in my playtest where we've kind of closed the loop between the two sections of the game, right? Because you've got the going out, doing things manually in the ship, which is quite fun, and I wanted to get back to it, and then we've got building stuff in the factory and doing the factory automation. And that was the first point where, as a player, I'd had an organic experience of like building something in the factory and then realizing I need to go and stock up on something and coming back out to the ship. The first time I came back out to the ship, to the shuttle, was because I was bored and overwhelmed with the tutorial in the factory and I wanted to just go and fly around. This time, it's organically happened because I've realized that there's a resource, and although for some reason I can't get the meteors to break down, I remember collecting copper by just like going around and salvaging it off other ships. So I can go on the map now and I can look for stuff that's around here and I can go, okay, these little satellites over here are going to have more copper on for me to shoot off. So now I can go and mark these as good, you know, possible places for me to find more copper, right? So now we've actually organically experienced the full game loop of how these two parts interact, but it was a little bit hamstrung by the amount of tutorial stuff that I didn't really need to know at that stage and was just sort of overwhelming me. We go over here. We're going to get a little bit more copper this way. We're probably not going to get enough. It said force recall. Why did it say force recall? Is it because I went too far? Because I went to that past that circle. This is cool though. I really love this art style as well. It's sort of like, this feels very alien. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to be like humans in space. It feels like it's something more unusual. It's got a bit of a kind of 80s anime vibe as well. But also, because you've got these kind of muted pastel colors, it feels... It's kind of like it's maximalist in one way, and then the color palette is minimalist, if that makes sense. And that's an interesting set of choices. It makes it feel like it stands out a little bit. Okay, so I'm not allowed to go past that line for some reason. That's probably some sort of range upgrade we need to get. There's a lot of these guys. Explode and give me copper, please. The dogfights feel great as well. It feels genuinely fun to do this bit. Feels like there's a kind of a nice tension between just like flying straight into them, like making yourself really vulnerable and getting the shots in, or you know, tailing them around a little bit. Okay, so we've got enough copper, we just don't have enough energy. This are... Right, system management. Okay, here's our energy management stuff. So it says we've got 4 production energy. Okay. So I've got 4 production energy, but it's not letting me use it, and I don't understand what's going on. Using 2 per second. What if I turn these off and then I just turn the top one on? It still says not enough energy. We do have enough copper ore, we just, I can't work out how to turn the power on. We've got production all the way up and crusher all the way up. So if this is based on FTL, I think you could probably do well by just putting this here. Like putting it in the place it is in FTL and not making it a sub-menu. Yeah, I just can't get this to do anything. It's acting like I don't have the energy when I do. And then these are the crusher charges, which I don't have any left of, is that right? Which I think... is that a bug? Because I'm not... Like, when do the crush... Oh, the charges refill when you move. Okay. So if I were to go to the run map... You can only start warp prep outside. So does that mean we have to... We have to find that run beacon thing and charge it to... so that we can go to the next place. And then we'll get our crusher charges back and stuff. Okay. We're going to start a jump to the next sector, I think. Ah. I didn't put the shield up on my base before I did this as well, so they're going to blow it up. No. Please do not destroy my mothership. It's where I keep my copper wire. Don't blow up my mothership. Don't do it. These guys. These freaking aliens. Yeah, I mean, I can see how this works, right? So you're gradually building the factory and the ship. You have certain things that you only get a limited amount of within that sector, so you have to jump from one to the next, and you have to like trigger the beacon and have that little kind of boss sequence where stuff rushes in. I needed to put the charge the shields up before I went and did that, but it's like there's loads of really cool stuff here. It just needs to be communicated in in a better way, I think. But everything feels great. Like everything feels really good to interact with. It's just very confusing, and as someone in the chat just said, just like quite inscrutable. That's great. That's Astefactor. If you want to go follow it, it reminded me of the art. Reminded me quite a lot of this old Amiga game, just because of the limiting the amount of colors. Xenon 2, where it was like just all of the purple and the orange, and having a very limited set of colors, and the kind of weird biological sci-fi that is very sort of 80s anime kind of approach to sci-fi, which kind of makes that game stand out as doing something slightly different. I really like the music choices, kind of going between the spooky, mysterious stuff of the building sections and then that very sort of heavy, more industrial, drummy stuff when you're fighting. Just feels really good. I think, yeah, there's lots of places where we could improve the UI, improve the UX. You know, you've got some other colors in your color scheme that you could throw onto the map, like someone said, to make the map more kind of intuitive and inviting. And just stretching some of that tutorialization out and making sure that players get a chance to have fun with various parts of the game as they encounter them is the main thing that needs working on there. Okay, I'm just going to quickly see if I've got any notes that I need to get on this. Okay, so we're jumping into incremental game that's also a platformer. IGTAP for short. And I think I have a special start button. AC start 1, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so we've got to skip ahead for this to test another part of the game. If you haven't seen incremental game that's also a platformer, that's a good idea. Beat the demo to enter a raffle to get a free copy of the full game. Good idea. If you haven't played this one, this is my idea of like something that a game that does something interesting with incremental game mechanics. So you've got like these little kind of skill-based platformer sections of the game, and the game records your ghost running around those sections, and that generates the power, like the primary resource that you're collecting. And I've played this before, and the dev has just sent us it with a skip command, so I'm able to jump a little bit further ahead and test part of the game that people aren't usually testing. I'm going to do it with the controller, because it just feels more natural for me to play a platformer with a controller. Okay. So these are our buy buttons. Complete the demo. Okay, that's the bit where you get to the end. What does that say up there? 400% extra watts global. Okay. Moss is unsteady ground. Can't see what I'm... Okay, so I have an air jump. Do I have a dash? Oh yeah, I do. Okay. Been a while since I played the base game, so I'm jumping ahead in a game that I don't know how to play. So on the moss, you can't... It's adding that little water effect. And I think that stops me from being able to double jump. So I've got a double jump, and I've got a dash. But when I walk on the moss, I can't do either anymore. I think that's how the mechanic works. It's a bit mean. It's basically taken away something we've taken a while to like save up and unlock. But unfortunately, now that I haven't played through the rest of the game in weeks, I maybe don't have the skill required to do whatever I'm supposed to be doing here. Ah. Right, we've got dash, air jump, wall jump, 4. Okay. Oh, I can do wall jumps, okay. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I need to make sure I approach this from the right side, and then I need to dash off the other one. So yeah, bear in mind, if you haven't seen this game before, this is like not how the game looks at the start. It's much brighter at the start. It looks like a laboratory from Portal or something. And then right at the end we're going into Hollow Knight homage territory, which is funny. Okay. I think that this is basically just the dev being mean to us and making us just play a normal platformer after we've been playing a platformer that's an incremental game for the whole game. Reset and course upgrades to produce an atom. Two atoms until next tier. Is this like how the game ends and you keep adding these to show how many times you've completed the game? It's kind of hard seeing what this is out of Plant the Upgrade Tree. Seeing all of this outside of context. Okay, so the reason this is in a big green sort of scientific arbitorium area is that we've got an upgrade tree that grows. So we're simultaneously doing kind of Hollow Knight references with the way that the background is built, and it's biological because it's a tree. That's fun. Now we're back to doing the core gameplay again. Oh. Right, the lack of the double jump when you're going off of those is really difficult. I think people are just going to find it mean because it's like we earned that earlier in the game, you know? Why did I get that earlier? So I think I can So I can't do a double jump when I'm here, but I can wall jump off of that green bit. Something confusing happening over here. I don't understand why I can... So that water particle is to show me that I've lost the ability to double jump because I'm on a moss. Which is not the most intuitive mechanic, but I guess by this point of the game, people are going to be reasonably used to you trolling them with weird stuff, so it doesn't matter so much. But what I'm struggling with is, if I jump over here, there's a point where I seem to be able to air jump, and I can't work out what it is that's triggering it. Maybe it's because I'm just doing a wall jump too early. Okay, I can't work out when I can and can't double jump or air jump right now. There we go, okay. So now what happens is our clone will start running around. But we need to have some wattage first. So base reward, okay. So I'm going to get some reward for doing that again now that I know how to do it. And then when we've got enough reward, we can start to build clones who will... So for anyone who hasn't seen the game before, I've jumped in very late to sort of replay a bit that I'd already played earlier. But you're going to see like the core thing that this game does that's unusual in a moment. Okay, I still need more for a clone, so we're going to just upgrade this for now. Get one more. Okay, now we've got a clone. Here we go. So now we're automating it. So the clone is just going to follow our footsteps. And if we can beat our best time, then our new best time ghost will take over, and then that automation will be running quicker. And now we've got 2 clones, right? But yeah, bear in mind, this is basically the end of the game. This isn't how the game starts. So the bit that we've just done, there's a much easier version of that doesn't have all the spikes and stuff that you would have played dozens of times up to this point in the game, and we're just testing later on where we've jumped in later. Green clone, GP reward. I don't see a green clone, but... Yeah, doing the buttons as jumping up and headbutting them is neat. This is very similar to how tycoon games are done in like Roblox and Fortnite. When they make clicker games, they just have like physical things in the environment that you go and whack or shoot at or whatever. Another clone. The clones are like ghosts. You can't interact with them. Yeah, let's go back and check out the upgrade tree. Yeah, I mean, I'd sort of forgotten you could jump on the buttons, really. 0% chance for green clones. Let's have another one then. Okay, so we got a chance for green clones. So green clones are going to be ones that can trigger some extra condition. So we're adding a little bit of random variability into the game. So we're going to bump that up. And we should occasionally get a green clone that's just going to give us more stuff. So at earlier points in the game, and I would say go like play the demo of this because it's very good. But you know, you use the incremental part to unlock mobility moves so you can get to other parts of the game that you couldn't get to before. So that's kind of how the first part of the game works. And there'll be puzzles like this, but they're like multiple screens, and you can kind of come back to them later once you've got a dash or something that you didn't have before, like the wall jump. And then there's like a level that you can kind of complete way quicker, and you can upgrade what that incremental part of the game is doing once you come back to it with your kind of unlocked Metroidvania type abilities. Upgrade the clones so we've got more of a chance of getting a green one. The little green clone occasionally goes through and gives us GP, which is our big tree upgrade resource. So you can see how it's doing this sort of like one of the ways that you avoid getting into crazy numbers in incremental games is just having new resources which are worth so much more that like one of them is worth tens of thousands of something else. And that's kind of what's happening with our new GP and MP resources here. So the GP resources are the ones that you use to grow the green tree, and they are created by green clones. But you only have a very small chance of each... there we go. I've only got 2% chance of each of these clones being green. So when that clone goes around, they will... generate some GP. Then I can occasionally do the run the platformer again and see if I can do it faster, although I don't think I'm going to at this stage. Especially not if I do that. Yeah, I'm not getting it faster than 9 seconds. Fatal bug? Yeah. I seem to have got the GP somehow, though, so I don't know what's happening. So I've only seen the green clone once and it didn't give me anything, so... You do have some sort of bug, but I want to know where the first bunch of GP came from, because we did get it at some point. Something weird happening with the multiplier or something, I don't know. Yeah, so if I walk away from the clones, is he going to score? We didn't get any from that one, but maybe it's because he spawned naturally. I'm just going to run away for a bit and see what happens. Just leave that section and go back here a little bit. Oh, we can't. We can't. We can't get back. I managed to die in the top corner there. Did you see that? Oh, hang on. There's some really weird death case where if you jump into the ceiling in a particular way, you die. Just like in real life. Right, I've reset W, I've reset watts. Don't know what that means. But I can go up here. We're gonna put our watts multiplier up. The skill tree is great. I mean, you've just done that classic thing of, you know, if you're going to put two types of games together, how do you make sure that all of the places where those games meet is kind of relevant to the mix that you're doing? You've done that really well. We're building this back up now because we had to reset it to get another atom in that kind of particle collider room type thing. Getting under 9 seconds now, though. Yeah, doing that faster is all about mastering the kind of variable jump height. Because like that little spike at the top, you have to just do a tiny little hop over it. And not overshoot in terms of how much power you put into the jump. Now we're going to walk away and let the green clone do his thing for a little bit. We'll go back up here and get some more upgrades on the tree. So now we've got more chance for green clones. Increase the wattage. Increase the green clones. See what's up here. Increased nuclear power. Oh, it's kilo. Okay. Clone speed. Ooh, nice. There's some good upgrades up here. Okay, so we basically have to keep doing that. We have to keep resetting it. This is a very interesting little sort of deviation from the loop that you've established at the beginning of the game where we're just going for watts. I have to go down again and set this up again, which is fine because I can actually do the platforming now, so I don't mind it. $8.4, yeah. Not like that. Get some clones again. I don't think there's any point adding the green clone reward bonus until you've got loads of the basic upgrades. I think the middle one is the one that you want to dump for a while. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting brain switching in this between thinking about the how to solve the jump puzzles and then all of the weird stuff that's going on in the economy and the rest of the game. It's basically a puzzle platformer, but you're using the incremental bit to trick people into doing puzzles. Which is neat. It's going to break a lot of people's brains. Very smart camera lock there as well. You can see it doesn't assume that I don't want to do the loop again when I jump out of the loop. And then when I go back there, I get my camera back. Yeah, they still give me 0 when they're on screen. Okay, one more clone. Start upgrading the green clone now. Right, go away and let them do their thing. Oh, we've got kilo NP now. We've got loads. So that requires 22 kilo in MP. This one is 2.25. That increases green power, but I only need the green power to do this by 2. Okay, we're going to reset it one more time. Get another atom. We get 2 atoms this time. I think coming back to some of the stuff I was saying on the last game as well, is that, you know, this might be quite repetitive to watch, but remember when people play a game, usually they're there to sort of master a skill, or to, if it's not a super skill-based game, they're still there to kind of learn how something works by doing something repetitive. And, you know, I'm having a lot more fun right now than I was playing Astefactor. Even though Astefactor has so much of the DNA, like the kind of bare bones of, well, not the bare bones because it's quite polished, but Astefactor has so many of the ingredients to be a really great game. But there were lots of things just not getting out of the way and letting me play it. And there's, it's difficult because you need to sort of trust players to just be trying to have a good time. And then you need to go with that to a degree, you know? Okay, let's go over here. We've got clones now, so we've got a chance of getting a green clone. I think I can do this. This whole loop can be a lot faster. I've been sort of letting it run longer than I need to, so I only need 38 to upgrade this again. We've got enough KMP to do anything up here? Yeah, I'll do that one. Go down here, but do some more automation over here. It is green power, yeah. Do the next one. Yes, we can. Okay, reset again. Three atoms until next tier. Okay, I'm going to try and play until we get the next 3 atoms, and then I'm going to probably log off for the day after that. So let's see. Anything up here we can get before we start over there? I don't think there is. Everything's in the KMP now. I can't afford any of that right now, so we might as well go and get this started. It's interesting that the nuclear points, the nuclear power points take a while to go up, so that kind of gives you an incentive to go over here and start doing this again in the meantime, because you don't know what it's going to go up to. Because you're making that fusion reaction happen, and you have to sort of wait for it to max out. This is getting faster each time because our upgrade tree upgrades are kind of upgrading the amount of watts as well. And I think there's a upgrade near the top that we haven't been able to afford yet that upgrades the base speed of our clones as well. Which makes this machine like way faster. Like 10% speed boost on 10 of them running around at one time. When you see them all disappear like that, that's because I've broken the record, so it's like resetting the ghosts to do my new run. Okay, let's wander off and let the... So remember, if you weren't paying attention earlier, the green clone that I need to get the green points is a little bit broken currently, so it only gives me green points when it's not on screen. We can upgrade the clone chance, so that's going to be faster on our next loop, and then... Don't think we're going to get enough KMP to get anything else, so let's go down and do this again. We can buy 2. Does that mean if we just wait, we can get... Okay, I don't think we need to reset it every time. I think we can just kind of... If we wait until the GP is higher, then we might be able to just get more atoms in one go. We've got 1.3 KMP. All of these are getting too expensive for us. I really want that speed increase one. Huh. Hang on. Oh. I thought I was going to be able to get up there, but there's a bar. Right, let's see if we can get... Yeah, we can get 3 atoms now. Okay, I'm going to keep going for 25 minutes on this if there's enough stuff to play, because I'm just enjoying this now. So we'll keep going for a little while. We got a special yellow atom now. Right, let's go and we'll get the speed increase. So the clones are going to be faster. And what's up here now? Clone size increase. Sure, why not? Ah! Increased nuclear power seems helpful. Increased what's GP? Okay, increase everything. I'm going to wait here until I've got 45 and then get that. Seems pretty useful. Open the door to the facility's lower section below you. Okay, cool. So someone asked how the incremental part played into like unlocking areas. There's as an example. Green power. You can get up there on the bar, you're right. Yeah, let's go and we do the clone speed increase thing there, and then have a look up here. Make the clones bigger. I don't know why we would want to make them bigger. Huh. There you go. We've got another level. Let's get this one running then. We've got bouncy. Oh, it's timing. Okay, so we're... Got it. Right, so we're going dump, bouncing through, jump, 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 and then up there. Oof. So glad this is checkpointed. It's brutal. Try that again. Ah! Oh. Started off so well. Thought I was going to beat the first time. I don't think I will, though. Okay, the blue and orange things change when you dash. That's the thing that was confusing me before. I thought I was waiting for them, but they just occur when you dash. The swap doesn't feel like something the player is doing. I'm not sure if that's a mechanic you would have established before this point, but I think making it clear that your dash button is triggering those would be helpful. Oh, why can't I not do that now? I did it the first time. I'm giving up here. Just put more clones in it and let it do its thing, I guess. So many clones. Satisfying. This is a really good area structure as well, to have like one really difficult jump puzzle area and one that's kind of quite easy to just do, like a single screen one, because you can alternate between them, and you can go and do that for a little bit and then go and do the other one and try and speed up the other one. Whereas if you were just stuck with that other one, it would feel really frustrating. Speed up the clones. Send in the clones. There we go. I just love to see loads of little dudes jumping around a level as well. It's kind of capturing the same enjoyment that you get from Super Meat Boy when you see all of your previous attempts at the same time. Ah! Jump or dashing on the ground. Okay. Let's try that. Guess a slightly quicker time, maybe? Maybe it will. Yeah. Because I didn't know about the super jump. Get more nuclear power. Mm-hmm. I haven't been able to trigger a dash at the end there, and I thought it was because it was only letting me dash once, but that doesn't really make sense because you can dash as often as you need to up here. Oof. Keep forgetting about the not being able to double jump off the moss. It's a difficult one to keep in your head. You can dash off the moss, but you can't double jump off the moss. Okay, did that one faster. We've got Keeler green points now. We've got so many green points. Or green power. Yeah, I don't have many words set to filtered, so I don't know what would be getting filtered. Unfortunately. Don't have any control over it, it doesn't tell me. Right, we'll go back and restart this one. Now that I've got it fresh in my head how to do it. He said... He says, slamming into the spikes. I know how to do this one now. Immediate death. Can't work out why I can do that sometimes and not others. Oh. Ah, it's dash then air jump for that first bit. Got it. Okay. Ah! Keep forgetting I can do another air jump after the dash. That's why I end up starting off too low on that little rise there. Oof. Leave that one to do its thing. It's so difficult. This big global reward increase is pretty helpful. We need 500 KMP to exit the area. Yeah, 7.6. I could dash that last bit. I don't know why I thought I couldn't, but I could. Yeah. Okay. Got the little extra roll jump at the end there. Speedy. Lead them to it. We've got our 500 now. It's time. Yeah, I like the idea of, you know, adding the green power as a second power type and it having its own set of mechanics it's linked to. You know, linking it to the green clones and then the green clones having a percentage chance, which makes it a little, adding that little bit of randomness in a place where it's kind of upgradable, so it becomes more reliable the more you level it up. Very neat. Okay, let's open the door. So that's a global increase to, I guess, all of the clickers in the rest of the game, right? I think that's the idea. Clone dust multiplies GP by 2.5 per something to the power of 2.5. Enable clone dust generation on this course. 0 clones, 0 clones. Okay, clone dust. We've got a new thing. We've got a thing called clone dust. Supposed to boing off of that thing. It looks more solid than it maybe is. I don't know. Okay, so there's a level there. Buying atoms no longer resets course 8. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so we got some creatures, I guess. Okay, we're gonna enable jump and dash refresh orbs. Okay, cool. Don't know how I'm supposed to get out of this. Wait, is this doable? Doesn't feel doable. Yeah, this doesn't feel doable at all. Yeah, I'm not high enough to use that last dash to get out of there, though, so... Ah, yeah, okay, cool. And that's both. So purple for jump, green for dash. Got it. Is there anything down here? Death. Okay. Not letting me dash there. I think I'm mainly having trouble remembering when I've got a dash and when I haven't. So we go down there, we go jump, 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 dash into that one to get another dash and another jump. Oh yeah, because the blue and orange things swap when we... Oh! When we do a dash. Green's a dash. I have them round the wrong way in my head for some reason. So difficult. I'm not going to get very far in this section. It's just super... This is kind of... So much of it's aerial. Oh! Just not being able to get the air at the end, you know? Even if I can get through the three. Oh. What a way to die. Headbutting a thorn. Just like our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Let's try again. Oh, didn't hold jump long enough. No. I'm not going to get any further with this today. This is too hard. That was great. I really liked this game the first time I played it. I really appreciate being able to like jump ahead and play part of the game that we haven't seen before. It's really nice to see the central concept continue to grow, because the first few levels of this are what you saw, you know, after we'd unlocked the skill tree. You have little platformer challenges, you do them, you repeatedly do them to get faster at them, you kind of build out the clones, and then there are multiple within a section and you can kind of leave them all running. This one added the concept of like resetting the whole section to get another resource, which was like adding another bigger loop on top of the loop. And then like other things within the level design as well, like the thorns and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff added here, but I think when you see it in the context of the full game, it's not overwhelming. If this was the beginning of a game, I would be like, no way. But we've already kind of established a lot of that stuff earlier. Yeah, it's cool. Really, really neat to see the upgrade tree be an actual tree, and to see like the other types of power gradually get added, but they're not all just variations on the same thing. So the kilowatts, the main orange power, is the one that's generated by your clones as they run around and repeat the courses. That kind of makes sense in a weird sort of hamster wheel dynamo kind of way. And then when the other power types are added, they're not generated in the same way. You know, the purple power is generated by resetting a whole level, and it's purchased with the green power, which is the second one you get, and the green power is purchased through well, it's kind of upgraded through the tree, but then it's purchased by getting those green clones that only occur on certain levels and have a percentage chance of appearing. So that sort of incentivizes you to, where you're splitting your upgrade choices between having more clones spawning more quickly so you get a better chance of getting a green clone, and kind of increasing the chance. So it's kind of similar to you know, having like a rogue archetype in an action RPG, and it's like all about the critical hit, and it's like, do I increase the chance of the critical hit, or do I increase what happens when you do the critical hit? It's the same sort of thing. You're probably trying to do both really, but that creates a nice little moment to moment, which thing should I prioritize spending on. Really, really cool. Love seeing this kind of grow and develop. It was such a cool concept in its own right, and I think the fact that you're building these other areas that look different, so it becomes more and more of an adventure platformer the deeper you get into it. I think that's really neat as well. And I think the first time I played it, I wasn't super convinced by us being a little orb, but it makes more and more sense the more that I see the rest of the game as well. Really, really great. Yeah, thanks for coming and having a look. And there'll be another stream this time on Thursday with some different games. You can go and kind of set a reminder on it on the YouTube page is probably the best thing. Also, tomorrow, 9 o'clock GMT time, we are doing a multiplayer playtest for Fame or Folly. If you're in the Discord and you have seen Fame or Folly before, you might be interested in that. If you haven't, you need to download the demo and just quickly learn how to play it. It is a push your luck deck builder where you are you're doing blackjack, so every turn you take is just, do I draw another card or not? And you're trying to score points. You're also trying to not draw too many of certain types of cards so that you go bust. And the dev, who has been a patron of the channel for a little while and has been in my mentorship tier where we have like a monthly call and chat about the game, talk about how it's going, has sort of built this whole multiplayer feature so that we can kind of sit and kind of in real time, you play the single player game in parallel and see your scores and stuff as you progress. So very interested to kind of stress test that with as many people as possible tomorrow. So if you're around that type of time of day, it's not the time I normally stream, but there was a free evening and thought it might be accessible to more people because we might get people from across the channel or across the Atlantic able to join in that way. So have a look at that as well. It's all on the YouTube channel. You can go and set alarms for those things. And if you want to take part in the Fame or Folly playtest coming up tomorrow, the multiplayer one, just download the demo now and have a look at that. But as of what we just played, that was incremental game that's also a platformer. And then before that we had Slots and Diapers, which is out tomorrow, which actually contained a lot less poo than I thought it would. And we had Astefactor, which was the asteroid mining game with a factory game inside the mothership. I really, really like this. I think it just needs to really push the balance towards, as someone in the chat put it earlier, information on demand rather than information in tutorial. And that's kind of something we'd like to see as a best practice for most types of games, really. It's like, okay, you're going to need a tutorial at some point, but how much information is missing that people just need to be able to access from moment to moment, like tooltips and stuff like that. And this is a really, really nicely kind of built game in terms of all of the aesthetics of it. I love how this looks and sounds. I think the two parts of the game could work together. It just needs a little bit more information in the right places and a little bit less of a kind of ham-fisted dragging you through moment-to-moment tutorial, which at the moment it has. And it was quite easy for me to get out of sync with the tutorial, and that was because I just wanted to play the game. So, you know, if you're gonna have a on Rails tutorial where you're saying do this, do this, do this, you need to make the game on Rails for that as well. You can't have like a very strict tutorial of like 30 steps that comes up and tells you to do this and then let the player do what they want, because we will do what we want, and that's for a reason. Is we're there to play a game, and you got to kind of anticipate that players are going to do that a little bit. So look forward to seeing that one again at some point in future as well. And good luck to the the Slots and Diapers devs with their launch tomorrow, and I hope it goes well. See you all soon, and thank you for joining. Thank you for giving your feedback in the chat as always, and I hope the devs got lots of notes on things that they can, work on. See you all soon.